so it's a guidebook for me, made by me. We realized then that Joe needed to be more involved with my sessions with Dr. Bross, so he began going back with me and has been going since. He had to know what I needed from him in a crisis. We worked on communication and, most importantly, trust. I had a hard time trusting anyone, even myself. Joe quit drinking around this time, which has been a huge relief to me and cut my stress level way down. In 2010, I got terribly ill. Joe took me to the emergency room, and it turns out I had E. coli, which led to lithium toxicity. The docs told my daughter in another 24 hours I would have been dead due to kidney failure. By the time I left the hospital, my kidneys were functioning up from 20% to 50%, and over the next several weeks, they continued to heal to an acceptable level. I now have chronic kidney disease and have to be monitored for any changes. After all that, I figured I was a clean slate and wanted to try something new. My sister took me to her homeopath. We call him the witch doctor. You know, call him that. He said my energy was so low, he wondered how I even got out of bed. He did some hocus pocus with his hands and poked me with needles and sent me home with a bunch of herbs and a list of what not to eat. When I went back a week later, he said my energy was 1,000% better. That should have been my first clue. I should never be 1,000% anything. I had to go back the next week to get de-energized. It was too late. Even my sleeping pill wasn't working. I was agitated with everything and everyone. I got into a big fight with Joe and he left. I was terrified. I sat up all night trying to think and figure out what to do. Early the next morning, I went to my neighbor and dear friend. She called my sister, and together they took me to the hospital. This was the first time I had ever walked in for help. They put me on Depakote, which caused a terrible allergic reaction, and all they could give me was Maalox to rub on my legs. As soon as I got out, Dr. Bross got me in to see the center's Dr. Julia Maximin. She immediately helped me get non-generic Depakote, and the itching subsided. She wanted me on 750 to 1,000 milligrams of Depakote, but it left me drowsy. I currently take 500 milligrams and my herbs. I do have an emergency med, Zyprexa, in case I start to accelerate. I am seeing a psychiatrist outside of the center because they do not have the funding for one. This doctor agrees that even though my meds level is below industry standards, it's working for me, so don't mess with it. In the past 2 years, I've been reading everything I can get my hands on. I now realize why lithium may have saved my life at one time, it's not for me. I hadn't read anything voraciously in years. I have shelves of books I would start and set down, not being able to follow or comprehend. Now that I'm off lithium, I've been reading spiritual, inspirational, and educational books. I've read up on holistic treatment of bipolar, and I don't believe I'm ready to stop medication or if that will ever happen for me. But I do know having a healthy body is important to maintaining a healthy mind, and vice versa. I know, too, that for me, my spiritual life is very important. I have to maintain my peace and joy. I read Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. It is possible to change our thoughts. I've also learned through meditation how to slow my thoughts when they begin to race. Eckhart Tolle taught me how to completely blank my mind to nothingness in his book, A New Earth. What I eat has totally changed. I practice Tai Chi and walk several times a week. When we put our old pup down, we rescued Layla from Boxer Rescue. Little did I know she was rescuing me. I spent years trapped in my house, afraid to venture out alone. As a wonderful side bonus of my healthier lifestyle, I've lost over 25 pounds of grief and stress. I'm enjoying gardening, writing, and living again. Dr. Leisha is the first doctor I ever had who didn't treat me like I'm an idiot. She treats me with respect and as the intelligent human being I am. I just happen to have an illness. I've learned to embrace the positive side of the illness. I am very creative. I can sew anything, and I love to refinish and build furniture. Working on projects is my therapy. Sewing is my passion. I know it's a gift from God. I spent years trying to figure out what my purpose on this earth was. I recently realized my purpose is to help as many people as I can with my creative gifts. There are many factors to my wellness. The one constant has been the Sutherland Center. Dr. Alicia gave me hope and believed in me. She listens to me. When I hurt, she hurts. When I rejoice, she rejoices. When I leave her office, I know I've been understood. And she's always a phone call away for me and my family. When she went on maternity leave, she made sure I was well taken care of by Dr. Monica House. She even visited me when I was in jail. Thanks to the help of the Sutherland Center, I no longer live in fear of my illness. I have bipolar. It does not have me. For years, I lived in fear of a manic episode. Now I live in the hope and the faith that when I do start to escalate, I have the tools to keep me out of jail and the trust to go to the hospital when I need to. I have a husband who loves me and doctors to help us. My faith in God has been restored. My faith in myself has been restored. Together I can live instead of existing. I thank my dad and God for the Sutherland Center. They gave me my life. They saved my life. I surely would be in jail or dead if not for the center. Please search your hearts and your checkbooks when you donate to the center so that they can continue to help people and families like mine. Boy, that was rough. Thank you for listening.